Family right here. That's what it's all about.
He's into the end zone. He caught it. Are you kidding me with that catch, JJ?
Vikings football is back in action as we welcome you inside the TCO studios for the Week 14 edition of Vikings Weekly. That's Tatum Everett. I'm Gabe Henderson. We are your co-hosts, and as we learned earlier this week, Tatum, this has been a long week.
Yes.
But at the same time, Josh Dobbs will be leading the troops, the 6-6 Vikings troops, as they continue to keep their playoff hopes alive this Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders.
And lucky for them, they get Justin Jefferson back. After 7 weeks without the star wide receiver, the Vikings will get a boost as they, as you mentioned, control their own destiny here now in the final stretch of the regular season. And coming up on this episode of Vikings Weekly, we break down the X's and O's with Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. Brian Robinson asks the tough questions on another edition of 96 Questions. And Pete Bursich breaks down this week's matchup.
Well, the good thing about the bye week is that it allows players to heal their bodies and rest up from any injuries that they've been dealing with. And Tatum, as we talked about before, it's been a long 7 weeks for Justin Jefferson, who's been dealing with the hamstring injury. Good thing is now, we finally get our Vikings superstar wide receiver, and it could not come at a more perfect time as this Minnesota Vikings team look to stack up some numbers, especially in that win column on Sunday.
And a few Vikings legends who know a thing or two about the win column joined our Vikings radio analyst Pete Bursich in a recent episode of Captain's Chair, where they discussed JJ's superstar talents and what could be next for his potential.
We're at River Valley Marine out on iconic Lake Minnetonka. And speaking of iconic, got a couple Hall of Famers here with me, John Randall and Chris Carter on the Bennington Pontoon to talk all things Vikings 1998. This is Captain's Chair, driven by Polaris. Similar to the 2023 Vikings, we had a pretty good receiver, Chris Carter and Randy Moss. Jake Reed, don't forget about Jake Reed. Chris, Justin Jefferson is #1 receiver in the league. It's pretty amazing what he's been able to do in his first couple years as a pro. What are your thoughts on our guy, Justin Jefferson?
He has been amazing. And for me, it really started off, and Johnny knows, we talk about the Combine because we work with the kids at the Combine, being a mentor with the NFL mentoring program. But he was in my group the year he got drafted. And I have the text message to Rick Spielman. And that year, they had him ranked 5th or 6th best receiver. And, you know, Johnny would tell you this, when you play the position we did and you have the football mind that we did, there's certain movements that guys can make at our position that we're like, okay, that's different. Like when I saw Randy Moss, he could do things that Pro Bowl players couldn't do. And at that size, height, and his ability to play off the ground, I knew he was going to be special. JJ is a natural receiver. He walks like a receiver. His hips, his feet move like a wide receiver. And I thought that, and I thought he had the potential to be the best receiver out of that group. Now, some very good receivers that year. Vikings go ahead and draft him. He's put in a situation where he can star immediately. I think really the sky is the limit for him. The only thing I worry about with him is people like yourself and other people in the media, they're already talking about the end of his career. When Randy was at this stage of his career, we weren't talking about the end of it. When I was at this stage of my career, we were not talking about the end of it. And to really be a legendary receiver, especially for the Vikings, given the pedigree that we've had through the decades, like he's got to put together a whole bunch more seasons to be able to get in that status of the other guys there. So for me, it's one step at a time. It's 1 year at a time. Don't listen to people around you because they don't know what it takes to be great, but he has it inside of him. Yeah. So I think he will be one of the best receivers we've ever had, but his overall attitude with his ability, coupled with the type of offense that we run with the coach, all those things line up to a successful, and one day we hope, a Hall of Fame career.
To your point, he hasn't missed a game, I don't think, in his first 3 seasons. So he's staying on the field.
It's going to be important for him to stay like that because that will separate him from the other receivers playing in this era.
How many days of training camp did you two miss?
Well, we had the Denny Green thing too. Did Denny give you the prizes for every the guys that make all the training camp practices? He has the gifts, and every year it's escalating.
Yes.
Yep.
But I am going to tell you, there were a couple days that I went to Denny and was like, "Hey, bro, I need the afternoon off, but I still want credit for practice." So he's like, "Make sure you full dress. Make sure you come up, go through the warm up, and then go through the individual." You know, we had a little senior
That's all right.
preferential treatment there.
You
from
deserve
Coach
that.
Green.
You earned that.
It's called a veteran move.
Yeah,
Now,
but
Johnny's-
training camp was important. Practice was very important.
You can watch an entire episode on Vikings.com or the Vikings app. And although the team was 5-2 without Justin Jefferson, he is a welcome addition as the Vikings continue to make a playoff push. Gabe?
It is X's and O's time, and in this week's edition, head coach Kevin O'Connell addressed just what the Vikings need to do in order to play its best football in the month of December and going forward. Let's check it out.
Here comes X's and O's with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell on the KFAN Minnesota Vikings radio network and Vikings.com. And I'm Paul Allen. Out of the bye, the Vikings hooked the Las Vegas Raiders shortly after 3 o'clock. We're going to Las Vegas, Kevin O'Connell, which means it's an opportunity for you to take a nostalgic trip to Sam Boyd Stadium, where you, as quarterback with San Diego State University, 3-1 lifetime against UNLV. This is a huge trip for you, isn't it?
You know, I hadn't thought about any of those trips to Sam Boyd Stadium in about 15 years, so thank you for that. But I do remember, you know, the 45-mile-an-hour winds one day out there. I'm very thankful that we'll be inside there at
Allegiant.
At Allegiant, and it's going to be. We played there in the preseason last year. It's a really, really spectacular place, venue. It's where they'll have the Super Bowl this year. Doesn't quite stack up to the bank, but I will tell you, we absolutely need to go get a win, and it's going to be a tough environment, and we know. We're going to have to play well to get that done.
When you were at Aztec or playing for Los Aztecas, did you ever go to a bowl game?
We did not. Oh. Yeah, we were bowl eligible 1 year. Didn't get the invite, and then I threw a ton of interceptions to keep us out of one when I was a redshirt freshman. So, you know, I think the first official bowl game outside of some collegiate all-star games that I played or coached in was the actual Super Bowl. So
yeah, I knew you were going to hit us with that. That's phenomenal. Now, lastly, on the college vibe here, you know, 18 years ago this week, Kevin O'Connell went for 421, 3 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown in a game at Hawaii. I mean, games at Hawaii, first of all, statistically, it was your best college game. But secondly, games in Hawaii, I mean, they just sounds majestic and like a working vacation. Is that true?
It was until Colt Brennan, I think, threw for about 500 yards to beat us.
I want to bring that part up. 3 touchdowns in a row. They took the lead.
No,
you don't play defense.
That's I wish I could have that day, but no, that's the one thing about the Mountain West. I mean, you've got your trips to Boise and Colorado State, and then you're going to New Mexico and UNLV. You've got the Fresnos of the world, and then you hop on a plane and go out to the Hawaiian Islands to play a football game. So it's a very unique conference and special opportunity. So anybody out there looking for a great place to play college football, San Diego State would be a great option.
You can check out that full edition of X's and O's out now on the Vikings app as well as Vikings.com. Tatum, it's been over 8 years since the Vikings have beaten the Raiders on the road. Wow. So we need a win on Sunday.
Yes, we do. But I'm going to pivot a little bit here.
Okay.
Throughout the season, the Minnesota Vikings Foundation is always giving back to the community. And recently, they partnered with Microsoft to provide an experience called Vikings Voyage for some elementary students. It was a football-themed STEM experience inside US Bank Stadium. Take a look.
It's cool to come out and just share my love and passion for STEM and field some fun questions from the kids and also interact with them. Just show them the relation between technology, science, engineering, and math, and just how it relates both on and off the field.
We all have a curiosity and intelligence. We all just choose different canvases to paint on. And so for Sheldon Day, his canvas is the interior defensive line and pass rush, and Greg is it's field goals, and Josh, it's quarterback, and me, it might be, you know, an Excel spreadsheet or planning something. And so I think that's really just the important thing to appreciate about everybody, is that we all have different canvases that we paint on, and our players are no different.
That every student that's here today doesn't have to be a scientist, but it's important for them to know that that opportunity exists for them. And that's one of the beauties of this, is that it really brings all of these STEM components and principles to life in a really enjoyable way.
Really grateful that Microsoft has donated the services to our program. It's really been impactful. Developing young minds through STEM is just something I'm really passionate about, and I don't think we'd be able to do something like this without Microsoft.
That entire video can be found on Vikings.com. Still to come on Vikings Weekly. Who's the biggest suck-up? Brian Robinson hit the locker room for the answers. And Pete Bursich makes his second appearance on Vikings Weekly, this time taking us inside the film room for the Raiders matchup.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back inside the TCO studios for Vikings Weekly. I'm Gabe Henderson. That's Tatum Everett. And after a much needed bye, the helmets are back on, the pads are strapped as the Vikings head west to face the Las Vegas Raiders at the home of Super Bowl 58, Allegiant Stadium.
I cannot wait to see that stadium this weekend, Gabe. And before we dive into that matchup, I've got kind of a weird question for you.
Okay.
Were you a suck-up?
I was always the youngest kid everywhere I went, so I had to be.
Yeah, I mean, I admit it. I might have been a time or two. But that was the recent question in this episode of 96 Questions, the wildly popular series led by the Vikings legend, Mr. 96 himself, Brian Robinson. Let's take a look.
All right, guys, welcome to the next edition of 96 Questions. Today, we're going to find out who's the biggest suck-up to coach. Brian, who on this team is the biggest suck-up to coach?
Harrison Phillips.
That was a quick answer. Why Harrison?
Because he wished him a happy birthday in OTAs when he was his turn to break the team down, so we've all been making fun of him for it.
Oh, so he had that marked on his calendar, like ready to go.
I don't know, but it was Coach's birthday, and he brought it to everybody's attention, so that's about it.
Alexander, who on this team is the biggest suck-up to coach?
Let's go with JJ.
Why JJ?
I pick JJ because he is buddy with KO. They are always cracking up. I feel like he might try and get some plays designed for him or something like that. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on in the little relationship there. So I don't know. Luck of the draw, I say JJ.
CJ, who on this team is the biggest suck-up to coach?
Damn. Yo. Cam, you answer this question?
No, I can't.
You know what? I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't.
It must be a linebacker, and he's afraid to hit him in practice.
I can't throw nobody under the bus. I can't do it.
Okay. It's Harrison, who on this team is the biggest suck-up to coach?
Biggest suck-up to coach? Man. You know what? I'm going to keep it in the DV room. I'm going to go Josh Metellus. He's a future coach in the making, so, like, there's no shade there. But, yeah, he's always thinking like the coaches. He gets those angles, so I'm going to go with 4-4.
I think maybe he's in the room, like, going through the clicker, and he's got, like, this mapped-out speech in his head, like he's pretending like he's talking to guys already?
It wouldn't surprise me. The thing is, he's good at it, too, though. So, like, he kind of should be doing those things. Especially in our room, I'm not the most vocal guy, so like he kind of takes that role, and he's awesome at it, and he's a smart dude, so it makes a lot of sense.
We're here with Kirk Cousins. Kirk, who on this team is the biggest suck-up to coach?
He's within earshot right now.
Oh, Harrison Phillips. Oh, he's starting to be the runaway on this. Why Harrison?
Wow, our boy Harrison Phillips catching that heat from his teammates. But, you know, in all seriousness, I got your back on this one, Harry, because just recently the team nominated Harrison Phillips as our Vikings Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. So big congrats to Harry Phil, or Horrible Harry, as we call him.
Handsome Harry,
There we go.
whatever you want to call him. But I've been waiting to say this statement all week.
Okay.
This upcoming Sunday, we are getting the Battle of the O'Connells. We got Aiden O'Connell, the Raiders rookie quarterback, gearing up for his 6th start against Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. And in this week's edition of Film Room, Pete Bursich analyzes how the Vikings defense can make Aiden O'Connell and this Raiders offense one-dimensional on Sunday.
Welcome back to another edition of Vikings Film Room, brought to you by the Vikings Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Pete Bursich. Well, I hope you all enjoyed your bye week. Now, the Vikings coming out of the bye, they got to go on the road and face these Las Vegas Raiders if they want to keep their wild card spot. Let's dig into this Las Vegas Raider team and find out what they got going offensively. So the first key in stopping this Las Vegas Raiders offense is this guy, Josh Jacobs. He's going to get his touches. He's going to get 20, at least 20 or so a game, and the guy's pretty good. And this first play, I think, is the ability to make something out of nothing, and that's always a key attribute for a great running back. In this case, you're going to see Kansas City's blitzing to stop the run. They're sending their safety, their nickel defender, off the edge. It's a perfect blitz at the perfect time, beats the wide receiver block. This is a TFL, right? For sure. At the mesh point, you've got a guy coming off the edge, screaming off the edge. Should be a TFL, but Jacobs is pretty good. Able to spin out, loses a shoe a la Robert Smith, and is able to make a couple yards out of a play that should have been a tackle for a loss. All right, so to stop Jacobs and this Raider running game, you got to stop the zone. So what exactly is the zone? The zone block is just elephant blocking. It's everybody moving to the side, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to get one guy reached. And in this case, you watch the guard and the tackle. They're going to double team up to this defensive end, defensive tackle, and work their way up to the linebacker, and all you need is one guy to get out of position, because the Chiefs right now, they've got a guy for every gap. But watch how this play unfolds. You get the double team. Now you've got the defensive tackle reached. You got the linebacker kicked out. And that's all this guy needs to make a big play. So this is the type of run. Gap integrity. And Jacobs, after contact, keeps those feet moving. So we got to limit these kinds of plays. So we saw an example of the zone run and what it's all about. It's about getting one guy out of his gap. You're going to see what Michael Mayer does here. Very good job by the tight end. And the whole point of this is he's going to shoot himself off the ball, hit this defensive end, help out his partner, and then kick out the other defender, and watch what happens. Boom. Here's that shoulder. You want to get a good hit, get that end inside, help out your tackle, and then he's going to work his way up to that second level defender as 97 gets reached. Watch this crease for Jacobs develop. You're not going to arm tackle this guy. There you go, through the arm tackle. That's all right, you got a safety there to make up. No, not really, you got a stiff arm there too. Jacobs with an explosive run. If you don't stay in your gaps, this guy could light up the scoreboard.
For the full edition of Vikings Film Room, head on over to Vikings.com right now, as well as the Vikings app. Tatum, it is December football, and I'm so excited to see what this rejuvenated Vikings team looks like on Sunday at 3:05 Central Time against the Las Vegas Raiders right here on Fox 9.
Yes, I cannot wait. And I love December, not only because of the football, but because it's also the season of giving. We encourage you to text SKOL to the number on the screen to donate $25 to the Salvation Army, or check out salvationarmynorth.org/Vikings to learn more about how you can give back to make a difference. Gabe?
Well, we end tonight's show highlighting our 2023 Walter Payton Man of the Year in Harrison Phillips. In just 2 short years, it's been exciting to see what he's done in this community, and I cannot wait to see what the future looks like for him and his playmakers going forward. For Tatum Everett, the entire Vikings Entertainment Network, my name is Gabe Henderson. We will talk to you guys right here next week on Vikings Weekly.
Let me tell you about my friend Harrison. He was a pretty special person way before he started his NFL career. He was just 11 years old when he surprised others at his school by sitting with kids with different abilities. Harrison's mom ran a daycare for those special kids, and she taught her children that everyone is important and unique and loved.
Hike! Get to the cone! Touch the cone! We're out of bounds. Boom. Nice. Oh, good kick, almost. Oh, what a save.
Harrison loves everybody.
We're about ready to get started, huh?
And he wants to make a difference. And he does, for many people, including me. He started Harrison's Playmakers, which gives chances for all of us to learn new things, meet new friends, and do football drills.
Oh, spin move! Oh, nice!
Did you know there are Harrison Playmakers groups in Omaha, Buffalo, and Minnesota? But he does a lot more than Playmakers.
A fun saying that I like, it says if you reach for the stars and you only get the clouds, you're still higher than everyone else. And so make really far, long, hard-off goals and try to reach them. And if you don't, you'll look back and have accomplished a lot on your way there.
He has worked with 17 Twin Cities charities since joining the Vikings in March 2022. He visited children's hospitals, book fairs, and football camps, and pet shelters. My buddy is super busy every Tuesday, making people's days better.
What's going on? How are you? Good? Excited to come out? Hey, I'm happy you guys are here today.
Harrison always makes me feel very important. He makes me laugh, and he even let me put makeup on him once.
Harrison Phillips destroyed the interior of the Green Bay defensive line.
Harrison is a good football player.
Number 97, Harrison Phillips!
But he's even better at making the world a better place.
That's all clapping for you, because they love your costume. I love your costume too.
Harrison Phillips is my NFL Man of the Year.
Want me to go right here? Yeah, right here.
Wait a second.
That's fine.
No way!
Whoa, what? What are you doing in here?
What's going on, man?
What's up, homie? How's it going?
Good.
It's super cool to have Jenna involved. She's been a playmaker since day one that I got here. She's helped with some of the collaborations that we've had with Best Buddies and Special Olympics and everything. She's a great catalyst of who Harrison's Playmakers is.
Isn't that cool that I'm going to be nominated for the Vikings? Yeah, I'm really excited. It's because of some of the work that we do with you guys and how great you guys have been as ambassadors. I know you got the whole Oral Bahari tee on and everything.
One of the best things that my passion for others has done for my career is it helped me separate my identity as a football player. They just love Harrison Phillips, and so it helps separate so that when things don't go the way I want them, when we're not winning or when there's an injury or when there's things that come up, I still am something else to such a big group of people who love me unconditionally, aside from what jersey I'm wearing or what my stat line is. And that's helped me a lot.